So once the chorizo is done and you've got it nice and packed, I now add the shallots. Shallots are also really, really yummy. And it's just a different, maybe a little bit of a lighter flavor than an onion. I prefer it in most of my pasta dishes, like in a carbonara. That's another one of my favorites. I love when there's shallots in that. I don't know if it's typically how you make a carbonara, but when you add that with some other deliciousness, it's pretty good. So shallots are done. Portabella mushrooms. This is also another ingredient that I think really makes it. I would imagine you can use a different type of mushroom if you're not a fan of portabellas, but I chop them up pretty fine so you can kind of spread them throughout without it being too mushroom-like. You still want to taste the flavor, but you don't want to overpower with any one of these ingredients. And if you don't like one of these ingredients, by all means leave it out. It's not going to make or break this dish. I really love recipes that you can kind of play with the ingredients. I don't like exact things. There's nothing exact about my cooking. I try to be precise just for you guys to know what's in there and about how much, but feel free to alter, seriously. Okay, Parmesan. I love Parmesan cheese, especially the shaved Parmesan. I just feel like it looks a lot better in lots of the different dishes that I cook. So I'm going to go ahead and layer that evenly, pretty much throughout. This dish is getting full. We still have a couple more layers to go. So, done that, saved a little bit at the end for some garnish. Now for the ricotta. And this also is another delicious component, which makes it more of a lasagna than something else, I guess. But I kind of get clumps evenly throughout the whole dish and spread that pretty nice. It's not the easiest thing to spread, but it spreads. And it adds a nice creaminess to the lasagna. So now once that is kind of coated throughout, I'm going to go ahead and flatten it one more time just to make sure, because we're getting pretty full here. And I definitely recommend making it in a deeper dish, not a thin pan by any means. You need some depth. Next, we have the sauce and the noodles. So I'm going to just lightly layer a little bit of noodles at the top just to give it some substance towards the top of the dish. There was an airplane landing. Love that. So you got that. Next, you're going to use the cup of sauce that I told you to save. It's really easy to use a lot of sauce because the sauce makes it. And if you have a delicious sauce, yummy. So you spread that again, and I try to get all of the noodles kind of under something, just because you don't want your noodles to get too crunchy at the top, and those noodles that are exposed will kind of get baked. So you want them covered with some sort of topping, whether it be the cheese, the sauce, the ricotta is kind of peeking through. This smells so scrumptious. And as you see, there's not a whole lot of room for much of anything else. So make sure that you've got all your ingredients pretty much in there. All right, once you have that, I then take a little bit of the cheese that I saved just to cover some of those noodle tops that I was talking about that you don't want to get too baked or hard, which is not the end of the world. It actually makes your pasta dish look a little, you know, tastier somehow. It's kind of like crispy edges. But when you bite down on one of those cooked noodles that got charred, sometimes it's a little hard, a little chewy. Not a very good representation of your dish. So make sure all of the noodle tops are covered with the remaining cheese. I use the jack cheese, and then I also garnish with Parmesan, of course, like such. Have some leftover herbs as well. And this on top of your dish just adds to the beauty of a finished product. Cooks really nicely, smells really good, and makes it look beautiful. And then you can easily top it off. This is also another product highlight. This is an herb saver. Huge fan of this also, love it. It's just a simple, easy container that unscrews at the bottom, and you just fill that up with water. Put your herbs in here, whether you have a garden or they're store-bought, they stay longer if they're in this, getting watered in your refrigerator. It's awesome. So I keep these for my rosemary, for my sage, for my basil, for everything. You can find them at lots of different stores and on Amazon. Punch in herb saver and they come right up. They're like $7.99. So I always take some kind of topping of an herb and just kind of stick it in the middle, and it just makes everything look that much more gourmet and that much more delicious. You can use any herb you want. You can use basil, you can use sage, you can use rosemary, which is what I've chosen. Now go ahead and just stick this in the oven, bake it for about 45 minutes, and it will come out so delicious. That picture that actually is posted with the recipe, that's what this looks like when it's cooked, and it is such a good lasagna. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining. Please feel free to share this recipe with anyone you'd like. And then stay tuned for tastybistro.com. It's coming soon as I have a chance to get on there and put all of the recipes with pictures and ingredients, and I will get to that soon. So again, herb saver, soy chorizo, Trader Joe's. I know it's not everywhere. It's lots on the East Coast. East Coast actually has a good bit of stores now. The West Coast has a ton, but huge fan, soy chorizo. So that's it. You guys have a good night. Enjoy the pasta if you make it. And please, please leave me a comment, good or bad. I'd love to hear about my entrees and how you like them and whether or not it was a hit. So see you guys later. Bye-bye.